What's up, crew? I hope you guys had a really good week. If this is your first time tuning in, my name is Jerome Mbaga, and this is my podcast, Free to Grow. This week's episode is titled, How do you intend to live your life? I know that's a very big and scary question, but I decided to pose that question this episode because I know in my first episode I talked a lot about myself, but this podcast is equally yours as it is mine. And so I wanted this episode to be a lot more geared towards you rather than me. Before we dive into all that, I can tell you guys a little bit about my week. Since the last time we spoke, I've spent a lot of my time at work, just because that's where I spend a lot of my time, but I've gotten up to some pretty fun things. Me and my friends went to Jazz Fest. Well, not all my friends, but me and some of my friends went to Jazz Fest in the beaches this weekend, which was super fun. We randomly strolled upon this rave in a park that was bumping, and it was a great time. I actually had a really busy weekend, but now I'm just forgetting everything. I hung out with my girlfriend a lot, which was really fun. Went to dinner with some of her family, which was also really fun. I feel like I'm forgetting something very big. I don't know what it is. I feel like I'm forgetting something very big. What did I do? I don't know. Anyways, I also got to have a conversation, like a group FaceTime with most of my siblings over the weekend, which was really good. Because something I'm personally trying to improve on is showing up as a better sibling, because sometimes it's hard when we all get older and drift apart and stuff. So yeah, so it was good. It was good stuff, and that was basically my week. That's where I'm at. I played volleyball, and yeah, that's where I'm at. And so here we are, the second Thursday of the podcast, ready to talk about the meaning of life, or how you guys intend to spend your life. Now, I got this question from, don't hate on me, I got this question from an anime called Vinland Saga. It's a very, very, very good piece of fiction. I definitely recommend you guys all go watch it. But basically, it's about the story of a boy who lost his father when he was really young, because his father died in battle or whatever. And then essentially he spends his entire youth filled with rage and revenge, trying to hunt down the guy who killed his father, and then he is forced to let go of that rage and create a life of his own. Which is definitely more dramatic than what my situation is, but I think it's relatable to not just me, but to all of you guys, because I don't think it has to be something as obvious or dramatic as revenge and blinding anger, but I think there are a lot of maybe negative or neutral emotions that push us towards goals that we don't even know, and sometimes we don't even like. And sometimes this can look like jealousy of our friends, trying to fit in with said friends, chasing a level of confidence that kind of comes out as an ego instead, because we're trying to fix some of our insecurities, all that whole kind of vibe, chasing something, and then reaching a turning point where you choose to turn away from that goal, whether you've attained it and it maybe didn't live up to your expectations, or you didn't attain it but you just realized sooner along that journey that that's not what you wanted to do. And so a big majority of the people listening to this podcast are people around my age. I think the analytics said 18 to 24 or something like that. And so that's a pretty important time in your life. I know people are always talking about, oh, you changed so much during high school, you changed so much during university. I feel like you changed so much during all parts of your life, but these are especially big times. And so I wanted to sit down and have a talk with you about where you see yourself in a week. How is the version of you a week later, next Thursday, when we come back and talk? How is that version of you different? Maybe that's because you have some really busy stuff coming up this week and you might be stressed maybe next time this week. Or maybe you have a very clear schedule and there is something you want to work on. It doesn't have to be emotion-wise. Maybe it's just a skill or a sport or hanging out with some certain people that you want to hang out with that will change you in some shape or form, because you will be different next Thursday. Every single moment that we live and every single memory that we create shapes us. Second by second, we change as people. And so I would ask you, how will you be different next Thursday? I'll start. Next Thursday, I hope to be, this one's going to sound silly, but next Thursday, I hope to be a little bit more organized of a person. I'm pretty organized most of the time, but I'm also really good at procrastinating, which I know will come and hit me like a truck when I get to uni. But especially during the summer when things are more relaxed, sometimes I tend to run late for certain stuff or forget to text certain people back, and just lots of stuff that I should be on top of. And so that's how I want to show up next Thursday. A person that's just a little bit more organized. I'm not chasing perfection because I know I will never reach perfection, because, jealousy is the thief of joy or whatever. And I can also be jealous of like a future version of myself. Anyways, I will hope to be a little bit more organized. So I hope from hearing my goal for next Thursday that maybe can invite you to think about how you want to show up next Thursday. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds to think about that. Sounds good. You can keep that in your own head, or you can shoot that to me over Instagram, and yeah, we can talk about it. And yeah, up to you guys. But anyways, when we're thinking about how we want to live our life, I did the activity because I feel that we often jump so far ahead into like where we want to be a year from now, like those New Year's resolution type of goals. And I've never really been a big fan of New Year's resolution type of goals, because I feel like it's kind of just like a point in time where everyone feels like they have to have a goal. And I feel like a goal will just always be more attainable if it's something you just chose to put out there in any point in time. Anyways, I'm rambling. Point is, don't let the present skip past you. Time is moving very, very, very quickly. I'm sure all of you guys know that. But like looking at just right now, we're basically halfway through the summer. If you might even be listening to this on August 1st, where we will really be halfway through the summer. And so maybe reflecting on the past a little bit. How do you think you spent the first half of your summer? Are you satisfied with it? Do you wish you could have done more? And once you've acknowledged that, don't dwell on it too much. Don't get sad about it. Or if you're happy about it, amazing. Just take the lessons you've learned from the first half of your summer and apply it to the second half of your summer, day by day. And so that's what it's really all about. But moving on from that topic, I would like to focus on not necessarily your end goal type of person, like this heroic version you have of yourself in your head that's like you when you're like, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 years from now. But rather the important piece of yourself that you need to keep along that journey. And so what I call it, well, not what I call it, a good way to put it is it's called your center. I think a very, very, very smart way to navigate through life is creating and finding your center. And for many people, that can be many different things. It doesn't have to be one thing. It can be multiple things. And it helps you stay steady in times when you're not sure of where you're going to be next week, what state you're going to be in next week. If you're maybe not feeling steady with the people you have in your life around you, whether that be a romantic relationship, your friends, your family, teachers, anything going on in your life. And so for me, my center has kind of been a combination of things, which I only really found my center about 2 years ago, or maybe a year ago. I would say a big part of my center is the moral value of kindness. As a very, very, very big center of mine that helps me stay grounded in whatever I'm doing, in whatever level of certainty I'm doing, and it also allows me to be confident about it. Essentially, no matter how unstable my situation is, I can roughly predict that if I act with kindness, I will get to where I want to be. And that's my assessment that I've created for my own life. But it doesn't have to be something as happy, all that stuff as kindness. It could be a repetitive thing that you do every week, whether that be eating breakfast. Let's say you start a tradition for yourself where it's like every Sunday or like every Monday, every one day of a week, you're just going to have a meal. It's going to ground you. That's going to be your center. No matter what fakeness in the world is that's pouring down on you from every direction, you're going to have that one breakfast, let's say. For other people, it's their sport that they play. Some it's the gym. Some it's very important people in their life, like their family or their friends. For others, it's music that they listen to. For others, it's the shows that they watch. And so, I can share some of mine. First, I shared kindness. Music is definitely a big one. This month, I'd say, I've been listening to a lot more Fleetwood Mac than I usually do. Because there's this song called Warm Ways by Fleetwood Mac. Guys, it's so good. It's like, the vibes are like when you get home and like you're tired and you kind of just want to like relax. It's a banger. Put it on. But finding good music has been my center recently, because it allows me to connect with my work a lot more. And ever since I started this podcast, I think I've been in my head more, not like in a bad way, just like been more introspective about all the things I do, especially anything that is involving any form or medium of art, such as music. And so I've been really into Fleetwood Mac recently. I've been coming home from work, sometimes just really tired, putting on some Fleetwood Mac, and it relaxes me a ton. I've got my shows that I watch. I watch this one show called Blacklist. It's really good. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. And also this other show called One Piece that makes me really happy. You guys should also go watch it. Once a week, I also go play volleyball. So that kind of grounds me in whatever I'm doing. But the point I'm trying to make here is that these centers can sometimes feel superficial, because a lot of them are. A lot of them are things that are not you. They don't make up you. And so when I'm saying center, I'm not trying to confuse it with the word soul here. I'm just trying to give out the opportunity to have a repetitive thing that you do every week or even every day that grounds you in the calm of your storm. And so, returning to our original point, having this center allows you to be so much more confident in everything you do. And I am not joking. Like, this is so true. Even as something as silly, or not even silly, as simple, I'd rather say, as eating the same breakfast once every week. I'm not even joking. You'll be very surprised how much it can change you, especially when you're conscious about it. A lot of you might be thinking, well, I do eat this one cereal every week, or maybe every single day. When you're conscious about it, it's different because you're setting a time aside in your mind for just you. And I invite you all to do that and text me about it and tell me how it goes. And so when it's time for you to think about how you want to live your life, and I'm not here to tell you how to do that. I'm not. I will give you a little bit of advice based on my life, but I don't know your life as much as I do my own, and you know yours best. Anyways, when it comes the time for you to be thinking about your life, I want you to think back to your center and ask yourself how the actions of your day or week or any time period have aligned with your center. Has your center been like a place of calm in this giant storm, and maybe that's a sign that you need some changes in your life? Or has it maybe just been a small point of reflection and everything in your life seems kind of steady? That could be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe steady as if it's kind of boring and you need to spice it up a little. Or maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's just an average level of calmness and you've reached a sense of peace where you're comfortable with. And that's great. And that's really great if you did. And so I want to bring upon this one point, quote, that I really like. And I don't know who said it. I just saw it one day and it was like really stuck with me. And it goes as, nothing changes if nothing changes. And a second quote I heard online that goes along with that one is, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And so those quotes are basically mean the same thing. And I bring them in now because I'm going to wrap up this episode now. And so I want to leave you with these thoughts. First, find your center. Ground yourself in your day or your week. Just try it for one day, for 1 week. Try it and come tell me, or don't. Keep it to yourself. Maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't. Second, think about all the things you're doing in your life and question if it's really what you want to be doing, if it's making you happy, if it's making you feel alive and not that you're just living and dragging on through the world. Nothing changes if nothing changes. If you're not happy with your situation, go change it. And you can do that a little bit easier by grounding yourself in your center. And then third, wow, that was a really good plugin. Third, go to the link in my bio. It's a new link this time. And at the very top, you'll see this button that you can click and it will bring you to this form. It could be anonymous if you'd like. You don't have to put your name or your email or any contact. And shoot me one thing. It could be about something that's going on in your life that you would like me to give advice about or talk about, or just any random thought, like philosophical or just podcasty type thought that you want me to talk about in my next episode, and I will definitely get to it. As always, it was a really big pleasure talking to you guys. I know there were things I left out pretty broad in this episode, and that's because I want you guys to do the thinking about it. Trust me, this podcast is going to be going on for a very long time, so we will definitely get into all of the nitty-gritty, but I'll leave you with this. It says any quote. This is just top of my head. This is your life. Do with it what you want with it. And I really mean that. This is your life. Do with it as you want with it. Stop doing things that don't make you happy. Or some things are necessary. Some things are like neutral, like homework and going to work. You can't really get out of those. But I'd say strive for things that make you happy. Strive for things that make you feel free. And strive for things that bring you back to that center and feed your inner child. Because we all have that, no matter what age you are listening to this, or gender, or any background information at all. So thanks for tuning in again on another Thursday. And I can't wait to see you guys next Thursday. Thanks so much, crew. Bye-bye.